By 11 a.m., the temperature in the Hell Creek lowlands has soared, turning the lush paradise into a stifling, humid furnace. Our T-Rex remains in the deep shade, but his rest is interrupted by a persistent itch on his flank that he cannot reach. He stands and begins to rub his massive body against the rough, corky bark of a giant redwood, a behavior seen in modern bears. This grooming ritual does more than soothe. It removes parasites and dead skin that could lead to infections in this tropical climate. Refreshed, but still sluggish from his heavy meal, he moves toward the river to regulate his body temperature. Thermoregulation is a constant battle for a creature of this size. He must find ways to shed the heat generated by his own metabolism. He wades into the shallows, the cool water rising up his legs and belly, providing instant relief from the midday sun. Suddenly, his attention is caught by a strange sound, a high-pitched whistling coming from the reeds further downstream. It is a clutch of juvenile tyrannosaurs, barely 3 years old, practicing their hunting skills on a group of small, flightless birds. These are not his offspring, but in the close-knit ecosystem of the valley, their presence is tolerated as long as they stay out of his way. One of the juveniles, bolder than the rest, approaches the riverbank, attracted by the carcass the adult left behind earlier. The adult lets out a low, vibrating hiss, a warning that the social order is not to be trifled with. Chastened, the youngster retreats, disappearing back into the safety of the thick ferns to find easier prey. With the distraction gone, the king continues his bath, unknowingly sharing the river with a silent, submerged giant. Even for a T-Rex, the water's edge is a place where the rules of the land no longer apply. The Dinosaurus remains perfectly still, a 40-foot master of the ambush, weighing the risk of attacking a full-grown Tyrannosaur. But the T-Rex senses the shift in the water's pressure. His skin is highly sensitive to the slightest vibrations in his environment. Wisely, he backs toward the shore. He is the king of the forest, but here in the deep silt, the crocodile holds the advantage. Back on solid ground, he shakes himself dry, sending a spray of river water and mud flying for dozens of feet. The midday sun has moved, and with it, the scents of the valley have changed. A new, metallic smell reaches his nostrils. It is the scent of a carcass, but not his own. Someone else has made a kill nearby, and the temptation to steal a free meal is too great. He moves with a purpose now, his hunger replaced by a territorial aggression. In this world, finders are not always keepers. As he rounds a bend in the river, he finds the source, a pair of subadult Daspletosaurs guarding a freshly killed Nanotyrannus. They are his cousins, smaller and faster, but they lack the sheer bone-crushing mass of a fully grown king. The smaller predators hiss and snap their jaws, a desperate attempt to look larger and more intimidating than they truly are. The T-Rex doesn't bother with a display. He simply walks forward, his massive weight making the ground tremble beneath their feet. Recognizing the futility of a fight, the Daspletosaurs retreat into the trees, leaving their hard-earned prize behind. This is the privilege of the apex predator. The world provides for him, often at the expense of others. The meat is different from his morning meal, tougher, leaner, but it provides the variety of nutrients he needs. As he eats, the shadows begin to lengthen. The first half of his day is over, but the most dangerous hours are yet to come. With the stolen meal consumed, the king leaves the clearing, his body heavy with the combined weight of 2 successful hunts. The heat of the day has reached its peak, and the air is thick with the buzz of prehistoric insects thriving in the humidity. He heads for a series of limestone caves, known to stay cool even during the most brutal Cretaceous afternoons. Inside, the air is damp and silent, a stark contrast to the chaotic, sun-drenched world he just left behind. He finds a flat shelf of rock and lowers himself down, his massive head resting on his powerful forearms. This is a time for digestion and cellular repair, a quiet intermission in the life of a tyrant. But even in the safety of the cave, he is not entirely alone. Small cave-dwelling reptiles watch him from the crevices. Outside, the weather begins to shift. A sudden tropical storm is brewing over the distant mountains. The first heavy drops of rain hit the parched earth, sending the scent of petrichor into the cave. The T-Rex stirs, the sound of thunder echoing through the limestone chambers like a rival's roar. Rain in the Cretaceous is more than a nuisance. It can trigger flash floods that reshape the landscape in minutes. He moves to the cave entrance, watching the deluge with a mixture of curiosity and primal caution. The storm is short-lived but intense, leaving the world washed clean and the temperature significantly cooler. He steps out into the transformed world, his feet sinking into the fresh mud, leaving deep, permanent records of his passing. The afternoon is fading into evening. The hunt for food is over, but the hunt for a safe night nest is about to begin. As the rain-washed sky clears, the golden hour begins, casting long, distorted shadows across the Hell Creek basin. For the king, this is a time of heightened awareness. The transition from day to night is when many predators are most active. He follows the ridge toward a high plateau, a location that offers a clear view of any approaching rivals or threats. Below, a group of Pachycephalosaurs engages in a ritualistic display of dominance, their thick skulls clashing with a sound like thunder. He watches with cold indifference. They are too small and too much effort to hunt now that his belly is full. On the plateau, he finds a patch of sun-warmed sand, a perfect insulator against the coming night chill. He circles the area 3 times, a primal instinct to flatten the ground and check for hidden vipers or insects. The temperature drops rapidly now, and the first stars of the Cretaceous night begin to blink into existence. He lets out one last roar for the day, not a hunt cry, but a final claim to this territory before he sleeps. The sound carries across the basin, answered only by the distant, lonely cry of a wandering Quetzalcoatlus. Finally, the king of the tyrants lowers himself to the ground, his day of hunting, fighting, and surviving coming to an end. In the darkness, his breathing becomes a slow, rhythmic bass line that echoes the heartbeat of the prehistoric world. The predators of the night will soon emerge, but they will give this plateau a wide berth. Even in sleep, the presence of a Tyrannosaurus rex is enough to hold the world at bay. Our journey through the 24 hours of the king is only halfway done. Tomorrow, we face the rivals of the night,